What am I doing now? I'm doing some maintenance on my fertilizer spreader. As you know, I have a turf business and I take care of about 500,000 square feet of turf, or residential lawns, some might call it. So what I'm doing today is I'm doing a quick clean of my spreader. The model is Shindao RS76S. This isn't actually made by Shindao, but rather Prize Lawn or Anderson's, or actually I think it's called PSB Company or PBS Company. They're the company that makes food equipment, and I believe they make a bunch of equipment for the White Castle chain of restaurants. They're predominantly a stainless steel manufacturer, but they also happen to make fertilizer spreaders. Anyways, I've had this for the last couple of years. I predominantly was using granular fertilizers, polymer coated, sulfur coated urea, U-Flex 46, a lot of calcitic lime, and last year I switched over to polymer coated urea, which saves me a lot of time and energy. This is not quite as important if you're going to be using PCU fertilizers, because the urea is completely wrapped up in a plastic membrane, if you will. So you're not really getting your straight urea on your fertilizer equipment. I also run a skid sprayer, mainly do liquid fertility and herbicides with that. Anyway, some of the things you want to take care of early in the season is take care of this gear backlash. Now, when I got this wasn't adjusted properly out of the gate, or rather it needed adjustment after it broke in. But basically, as you can see it there, I do have quite a bit of pressure on the pinion on the ring gear there. And that's to make sure that that doesn't skip, because if it skips, it doesn't throw as far. If it doesn't throw as far, you're gonna get striping and you're gonna lose product. So that's important for your customers, what they're paying for, and for your bottom line. Over the years, I have broken this roll pin right there. It's just, I think it's just a standard 3/32 by 1 1/8 roll pin. You can just get that at any hardware stores. I always keep a collection of those in the truck. So if it does happen to break in the field, you're not out for the day over largely a 30 cent part. Anyways, you want to make sure that this runs freely, the gears don't skip. You make these adjustments by the 3 set screws on these spacers. You've adjusted your axle and you've got the right amount of pressure. The other thing I like to do is use a little bit of, this is LPS3, it's a corrosion inhibitor. Obviously there's not a lot of corrosion inside the case where the gears are, but you're going to find a lot around the impeller and on some of the stainless steel pieces in the back here. This is actually almost out, so I'm going to quit wasting your time. And you want to get that corrosion inhibitor on there. Stainless steel is not stain proof, but much rather takes much longer to show corrosion than regular carbon steel. One of the other things I like to do is use a dry film lubricant on the gears themselves. That's what that white is, that white flaky stuff. So just give these a good dousing once in a while, let it dry, and then that will keep it lubricated. This is quite expensive stuff, but it pales in comparison to the revenues this piece of equipment makes, and it's a small price to pay for preventative maintenance. The other thing I recommend is using some grease. Use those grease zerks. They're there for a reason, and make sure that these axles are topped up, or those bushings are topped up with grease. Otherwise, I can't really say much else for this unit other than to keep it clean regularly, especially if you're doing urea fertilizers or any kind of fertilizer that's going to be readily available, as in start its conversion into available nutrients, and it's going to rob the moisture right out of the air around it, or any kind of metal part that the fertilizer is sitting on. So basic rule of thumb here when you're using a fertilizer spreader like this is to clean it out and dry properly at the end of the day. Anyway, if anyone has any of these units right here in the field, I recommend these basic maintenance practices, and this of course would apply to any kind of fertilizer spreader. If you've got a mild steeled one that's epoxy coated or powder coated, then you're going to definitely need to do a much better job of cleaning and a much better job of corrosion control than I do, or anyone that's got a stainless one. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching.